Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a true nerd, and welcome back to Fallout's Tale of Two Wastelands, where last time we sorted out a small ant problem and found Brian Wilkes a rather unconventional new home, leaving us right here in Falls Church. And that's great, because today I want to do a bit of ruin diving, starting off in a really hidden away building, LOB Enterprises, which does contain a really rather cool hidden story. Although, yeah, it's also got what is most definitely maybe some slightly difficult inhabitants, because we have got many sentry bots, and they are in tight corridors, so yes, if they decide to get around you in the wrong sort of angle, it can be very difficult to use my just walk behind them strategy, though on some occasions that will work, which is great. Honestly, I can't believe that yes, as it turns out, Fallout 3 sentry bots can be taken care of by just walking around them in a circle. It's kind of beautiful. Okay, wave of robots number 1 taken care of, and that's good because, yes indeed, the dungeon itself is not anything too dramatic. It's just a giant pile of robots, etc, etc. What is, however, fun is, yes, the rather unique story that's going on in the background. So just log into the front desk terminal right here, man the doors, emergency protocols, etc, etc. Weapon policy H31. As standard policy, all employees are required to carry low-grade military class weaponry at all times, CHR policy A12. In the event of a hostile takeover, your desk can be used as a makeshift barricade. Position the desk between yourself and your opponent, then crouch behind the desk while firing any weapon approved on Form B43-2. So, yes indeed, something was definitely a bit unusual at this particular company. Eventually, of course, the hostile takeover in question does appear to have come because sent from this terminal, man the doors. From Joanna Waring, oh flip, they're here, man the doors, the feds are here. So, the hostile takeover by the sounds of it was not another company, it was the feds. And hilariously, yes, the director of HR replied to that email with, I'd like to remind everyone that despite the impending federal invasion, standard company policy is still in effect. Specifically, do not write to emails in all caps, this style is offensive to your co-workers, thank you for your cooperation. I like this building is fun. So, you might well be wondering, yes, what it was that caused the feds to invade this building, and this building to be on such high alert that they handed out guns to all their employees, and basically told them to use them in the event the feds showed up. Well, how about we dig a little deeper? Find your way to the East Wing, and all of a sudden, yes, security operations, etc, etc. Mr. Humbert, I'm informed that federal investigators are interrogating Mrs. Johansson in the main lobby. Please enact Security Protocol C688 as outlined in your Security Handbook, Addendum 4. Sadly, we cannot look up that particular policy, but one might reasonably assume, yes, the very large number of sentry bots, they're that policy. They basically set robots on the feds. And as a final delightful touch, they weren't just worried about the feds, they were worried about nukes too. So, in the event of extreme weather, i.e. nuclear conditions, all employees are required to proceed to human resources and complete various forms. In accordance with company policy L83, employees will receive various bits and pieces, but more importantly, they will be sworn into the sovereign LOB Republic. So, okay, these guys were ready for the apocalypse, damn it. And honestly, with this many robots, they might have done pretty well too. But we still don't have a solid answer as to, yes, precisely why they were willing to set a giant army of robots on the feds and why the feds were coming in. So, how about we just, yes, mosey in a little bit deeper. Here we go, motion upstairs, many more cocking sentry bots in the way, seriously. At a higher level, I think this is the highest concentration of sentry bots in the entire bloody game. So, yes, my lovely Shocker Power Fist is getting a lot of cocking practice. But we've made it to the R&D terminal. Very hard lot, because yes, this company, it had secrets, damn it. Project is you wrong, prototype lab report. So okay, various iterations of something they were working on. So, the earliest iteration gives us an idea as to what they were planning to make. An experimental prototype making extensive use of hardware common to all liquid ammunition flame projectile weapons. So basically, yes indeed, the starting weapon was a bit on the heavy side, and also people were inhaling lots of smoke and whatnot, but that's what they were trying to do, make a special burning gun of some description. And moving forward a few iterations, they'd pretty much got the kinks out. So, live fire testing reports no major casualties, recommend version 418, as a production candidate, and in terms of, yes, who they're producing these for, well, the name of the project might just give you a clue. And before I could get to the final terminal, that SentryBot XP started adding up, so, okay, how about we just, yes, quickly bank ourselves at level 27 right over here, marvellous, and, you know what, the Shocker has been doing very well for me. You, buddy, can have some unarmed points put in ya. And the rest can go into Sneak, marvellous, and that should be, yes, not the right level for a perk, beautiful. But here we go, you know you've made it to the boss's office when you find this lovely, lovely case on the table. I'm pretty sure the boss just, yes, stabbed me with Bethesda physics from beyond the grave there, marvellous. And just in case, yes, you can't open the case, don't you worry, grab the key out of the desk, crack this open, and there we flipping go. Unlike, say, Mama Dolce's, which was a Chinese front, basically a way of the Chinese infiltrating American society, LOB is basically the opposite. It was an American company that was doing business under the table with the Chinese, including developing new cutting-edge weaponry for them. I say cutting-edge, like damage 19, even if it does do a bit of burning damage over time, is not really that impressive actually, but it's a nice unique weapon, it uses a very common ammo type, it'll flippin' do. Plus I can't deny it is rather badass just because, yeah, just shoot a random wall, and there's a lovely tiny flame explosion, which I do rather enjoy. So there we go, just buried away in one of those lovely areas in Fallout 3 where the game basically never tells you to go and never gives you any directions whatsoever. A really fun story about an American company dealing with the Chinese government under the table, including developing super awesome weaponry for them. And next up today, I want to be going instead back to the centre of DC, a much more prominent ruin, but one with some really cool secrets in it anyway. But before we go there, yes, there's someone I ought to go and visit. Here we go, back to Rivet City, and seriously, I owe this guy an apology, because we have actually visited him several times over the course of his playthrough. I've just been kind of aggressively ignoring the thing he actually wants me to do. That's right, it's Mr. Abraham Washington, and I've flogged the lad various bits of Lincoln memorabilia. I've even tried to sell him a rare violin. And finally, bloody finally, we're going to turn our attention to what he actually wants me to do. Because yes indeed, while the lad will very happily buy various trinkets and violins from you, his real passion is historical documents, and he's already collected a fairly decent number of them. Now I'll be the first to admit I'm no expert on American history, but this one appears to begin with "we the people", and something in the back of my mind tells me that means it might be a bit on the important side.
Each of the documents in this room tells a small but important story about the history of the United States of America. Unfortunately, the greatest prize of all is missing from the collection.
And because I'm so intelligent, I don't even need to ask, I know it's the Declaration of Independence.
Why, yes. Your knowledge of American history is quite impressive. What an amazing crown jewel in my collection that would be. The original document created by the people for the people.
And go on then, buddy. How about you point me in the right direction, and I go find it for you, though. I do enjoy how, yes, a regular option in the Fallout 3 dialogue is you just being a slightly tired protagonist who knows he's going to be sent off to do protagonist business sooner or later.
You can find the Declaration of Independence in the ruins of the National Archives.
And there we go, straight to the point, go to the National Archives and pick up the Declaration of Independence. Unfortunately, yes, I don't need him to tell me where that is, we've literally already walked straight past it. Although delightfully, yes, Abraham Washington is, well, he's doing his best, but he's not that much of a scholar, and a lot has been lost to the apocalypse, so yes, his version of history is rather delightful.
On July the 4th in 1776, a group calling themselves the Second Judgmental Congress got together at Fort McHenry in Maryland. After a ceremony which ended with Paul Revere singing the famous battle hymn known as the National Anthem, the document was signed. From there, it was sent to England by plane, presumably, and presented to King George himself. Thus began the Evolutionary War.
Oh, Washington, you're an absolute bloody star. But before we dive into that, yes indeed, how about you tell me where you got all this information about the documents?
Well, this is quite embarrassing, actually. I sent someone like yourself after the Declaration. She did some of the research for me, but now I haven't seen her in a few months. I wouldn't worry about it. Many have died for causes far less grand than what you're about to undertake.
So okay, I'm not the first person to go, and don't you worry, we'll be catching up with the mysterious lady he's mentioned momentarily. Here we go, barely over the road from, yes, the Museum of Technology, so you should have been here long ago, the National Archives. I just passed by this previously on my way to one of the metro stations, though, yes, do be careful. This is one of those locations which is very common in Fallout 3, where travelling to it basically means you're going to land pretty much on top of a giant pile of enemies. So okay, just fast travelling, and yeah, I figured we might be walking into trouble. Handful of brutes on this occasion, if we can just knock you down, buddy. Then just straight over to you two. Yeah, just two down this end. So you are staying away from the majority of the mutants over by the mall proper. So okay, that's not too difficult to deal with, really. And yes, indeed, here we go, the National Archives, which do contain some really rather cool secrets. So here we go, and today we're going to be jumping straight into the action because yes, the moment you arrive, the rotunda is straight in front of you, and in the rotunda, we've got ourselves Sydney, the lady who was mentioned to us by Mr. Washington if you pass the speech check. So yes, indeed, we've got a fellow relic hunter right here. Go and speak to her, and we're gonna be walking into trouble. There are many, many mutants in this place, so before we do that, let's just, yes, rig the deck in our favour a bit. Yes, let's just, leave a couple of mines, just as, you know, a lovely friendly surprise for the incoming super mutants.
Get your ass over here if you want to live. And watch out for the mines. Quick, they're coming.
And as you can hear right there, she's got the same idea. There are indeed a handful of her mines dotted about. So let's just, you know, supplement those with even cocking better mines. And then get out a really, really good gun. We're going to be wanting a good gun for this because, seriously, yeah, overlords can spawn, masters can spawn, and Sydney is not essential. She can die, and we don't want her to die. Okay, that gun will do as a starting point. Sydney, let's get this done.
Lock and load. They'll be here any second.
And there we go, straight into... No, not Sydney. We're not trying to murder Sydney game. The Super Mutants! So yes, I'm going to recommend, ideally if you can, make sure they don't have weapons. Using VATS to disarm them, not a bad idea if it's an option. So just, yeah, line up the shots here, see if we can... There we go. Lots more damage right there. One more Master taking some big damage. Masters are not so bad. The tricky bit is, yes, if the game decides to spawn Overlords in. So we'll have to see if that comes up. I've picked up a Dismember You perk, marvelous. Load up for a second. Use this, and... that's wave 1. There are 2 waves, and obviously, yes, wave 1 kind of eats the mind, meaning wave 2 can be a lot nastier. In particular, yeah, I figured we might be looking at this, unfortunately. Okay, we've got ourselves Overlords, and Overlords are vicious, vicious bastards. So, right, just pop a bit of healing. Let's start slowly wearing this bastard down. Step 1, I want to slow you down a bit, because... yeah, an Overlord will absolutely destroy Sydney, potentially. So let's just cripple the old legs, and... cock me, someone's got something very explosive. Possibly, you've got a missile launcher back there. Also, is that a second Overlord? Oh, well, this is just a marvellously good news. Right, yes, keeping Sydney alive. That could be a bit on the tricky side. Right, just activate the... a missile just went straight past me, didn't it? Okay, just... this was a bad time to use contact. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, if you get unlucky in this room and you're a high level, it could be a bit of a mess. Okay, attempt 2. This time, yeah, I've got a nice, easy early shot at the missile launcher. So let's just see if we can get that out of your hands, please. You've put that away. Good. Let's just use my shotgun to knock you down. We've got one more master at the rear. Just, yeah, shotgun and stay back to knock down the Overlord. And then, hang on, who else have we got there? One more master. You could go down nice and easy. And then, yeah, Overlord, I want to just keep you down on the ground. I also want you to, yes, take the dart gun. If you'd be so kind. Please stop shooting me. You're very, very good at it. Yes, back to terrible shotgun. Knock him down. Anytime you're ready to fall over, that'd be great. then use Fire Lance, okay? Fire Lance sees a good, solid damage over time. Just look at that. That's just beautiful. Right there. No, no, no. Stay the cog down, please. Then just Lincoln's repeater should do good for a bit of damage over time here. Okay, seriously. Overlords. Vicious, vicious bastards. But a couple of crits in their head should sort you out in just a moment. Buddy, come on. Anytime we're... There we go. Bloody hell, I suspect that was just wave 1. No, that was wave 2. Though Sydney is... okay, I think her legs are right. Her legs have definitely exploded. But beyond that, she's in pretty good shape. So yes, defense of the Rotunda. Honestly, I'd recommend coming here at a lower level, when it's just basic super mutants and brutes. Like at high levels, especially with broken steel, when overlords start showing up, that could be a nightmare.
Whew. Say, you're pretty decent in a firefight.
And yes, indeed, you didn't do so bad yourself, Sydney. Though that is, to be honest, mainly because, yes, 1, she's got plenty of health, and 2, she's got her own unique gun. Sydney's unique 10mm submachine gun, which is just a tiny bit stronger than the standard you'll find in the game, and that is one reason you might wish to just, very quickly pop her in the head right now to get her unique gun nice and easy. But we're not going to do that, okay? Today, we're going to keep Sydney alive, and there's a couple of really good reasons you might want to do that. So, for the time being, let's play nice. You didn't do so bad yourself, Sydney.
Well, with what I do for a living, you need to be. Sorry, I'm being a complete asshole. I'm Sydney. It's good to meet a fellow relic hunter.
And yes, indeed, straight away she's got my number. She knows precisely what I'm doing here.
Come on. You and I both know this is where the Declaration of Independence is stashed. No need to be coy about it. Good old Abraham Washington sent you on the same suicide mission he sent me on. Only problem is, you're not going to get it without my help.
Go on, Sydney. What are you proposing?
Simple. We pool our resources, grab the Declaration, then make for Rivet City and split the reward. I've studied the plans of this place, so without me, you're going to go in circles. What do you say?
And this is where this mission gets rather interesting, and one of the reasons I do really rather like Sydney, because if you say, no, not interested, she doesn't just say, oh, okay then, carry on, and just, stand here and politely wait for you to come back and say yes again. She's not just a standard boring NPC. No. Sydney's immediately realised that you're a relic hunter. And she's a relic hunter too, meaning in real terms, you're the competition. If you're not willing to be her ally, then you've just become a bit of a problem. But that doesn't mean she's just going to pull a gun on you if you say no. She's much smarter than that. Instead, she will run off and you'll meet her later in the Wasteland. At that point, a special unique Sydney event gets added to the random event deck. You'll just be moseying along, doing your own business in the Wasteland, and you'll be confronted by Sydney and her girlfriend Emmeline, who otherwise there is no way of meeting in this game. And to be honest, it's not much of a meeting if you run into her out in the waste, because she will immediately attempt to murder you, either because you're the competition, or because you in some way betrayed her. So for example, yes, if I say, let's team up, then immediately just run ahead, grab the Declaration, turn it into Abraham, give her no credit, etc, etc, then at that point she'll start hunting me down too. So basically, yes, don't say no, otherwise, yeah, there's gonna be trouble with Sydney. Instead, we're gonna do the right thing by her. And we're gonna team up, though, yes, as I say, it can be a bit difficult to keep her alive.
The Declaration is secured in the Archive's strong room underground. There's a concealed cargo lift right here in the center of the Rotunda. I've spent a few days hacking the lock with my remote terminal. When you're ready, punch in the password, let's get going.
This basically just lets you skip a tiny bit of the dungeon, which is good, because the dungeon contains super mutants, and super mutants these days might well be more bloody overlords. Though, yes, one thing of note, if you do use the elevator, you miss the bit of the dungeon that's got a book of sheet music in it. So, if you need that for Agatha, yes, you are going to be missing that if you take the shortcuts. There's also all sorts of other cool interactions you can do with Sydney. So for example, yes, if she ends up a bit wounded, you can donate her stim packs, which definitely makes her a bit harder to kill. Before we get to that though, yes, this location contains a whole bunch of really cool bits and pieces I don't want to miss out on. Because yeah, given you run straight into shooting super mutants, hey let's go and get the thing, secret elevator, etc, etc, it's really easy to, you know, not properly explore the first opening area of the National Archives, and seriously, there's some really cool stuff here. In particular, these two terminals that it's so easy to just walk straight past because, you know, you literally walk past them into the rotunda, then the explosions begin. But these are really bloody cool, because what we've got here is the National Archives Guess and Win. It's a history exam, and honestly, it's probably the single hardest test in the entire Fallout franchise. So all we've got to do is answer all 8 questions correctly, but they're about American history. Now, you people in America, you're probably going to be laughing at me about these ones, because to you guys, this will be like the easiest thing in the world. But, yes, to people who do not study American history, these are really bloody tricky. Especially as the game is actively trying to trick you. So, yes, the Declaration of Independence was an act of what body? One of the options is the Second Judgmental Congress. And, you may recall from speaking to Abraham just a second ago, that's what he cocky said to us. He said it was the Second Judgmental Congress. Now, he's wrong, but if you didn't realise that was a joke because you don't know your US history, yes, that can just slightly trip you up. Though I also like to think that, yes, that's the reason Abraham Washington is wrong about all sorts of details. Because some of the things he gets wrong are the incorrect answers on this quiz, suggesting at some point he might have accessed this terminal, or asked someone to access it for him, and they brought back the wrong options that he used to put together his incorrect take on a history. But as for me, I genuinely can't remember which one of these it is. Like, I know it's a Continental Congress, but I don't know whether it's first or second, so... okay, literally wrong straight away. There we go, it was the second one, right there. Question 2. How many North American colonies rebelled against Great Britain? Okay, I know that one. It's the 13 colonies. Good, 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 good. Not a dumb trick question or anything. Who was the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence? I think that's John Hancock. So, yep, got that one. Good, 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 good. How many delegates signed the Declaration? I have absolutely no cocky clue. So... okay, just going to work through those till I get one of them. There we go, apparently it was 56. Question 5. Which of the following is not a written section of the Declaration of Independence? I have absolutely no cocky clue. It's got to be preamble. Like, that's just a dumb bit. There can't be a preamble section, right? Okay, it turns out there is a preamble section. Seriously, I'm so sorry about this. I'm sure you guys, like, learned this when you're, like, 5 years old over in the US. But over here, we don't learn any of this nonsense. The answer turned out to be ratification. Marvellous. Who was the ruler of Great Britain in 1776? That was definitely King George. I note that at the bare minimum. Question 7. Famous expression, life, liberty, and the pursuit of... okay, happiness. That's just general knowledge. I note that one. Marvellous. And finally... can we end on a high here? Who was the principal author? Okay, like... I know Thomas Jefferson was involved in writing it. I don't know whether he was the principal author. My brain's saying it's either James Madison or Thomas Jefferson. I'm gonna go for Jefferson. Nice! We did indeed end on a high. Brilliant. So there we go. Get all 8 correct and you get yourself a lovely, lovely voucher. Though unfortunately there's only enough paper to print off one, you can't just do it over and over again. So there we go, archive prize voucher added, and you can spend that at this terminal over here. Meaning you can now get one sample of either grape mentats, berry mentats, or orange mentats, and it's easy to forget given in Fallout 4 you find these all over the place. This is actually completely unique in Fallout 3. This is the only location in the entire game where you could get these. So there we go, give myself a one lovely, lovely, yep, great mentats right there. That one's definitely worth getting. Because seriously, charisma +5, that is just magnificent. Even a character with average charisma can go straight up to 10, which is really useful for those bloody hard speech checks. Now fortunately, there is a bit of a workaround to get more, though only a handful more. Just, yes, mosey on in this direction, to the right, then turn back on yourself, and go upstairs. Because over here, overlooking the rotunda, we've got the office of the head curator. And if you just crack open his safe, and there we flipping go, 6 additional vouchers. Though, that's it. That's all there is in the game. 1 from completing the quiz, 6 more right here. So, yeah, you could get a combined total of 7 from any combination of grape, berry, or orange mentats. Together with a rather delightful note on his terminal about, yes, why precisely flavoured mentats are being handed out from terminals inside the museum. I'm recording this as a formal complaint on behalf of the US Department of Records. MedTech Labs has just sent their last shipment of fruit mentats to load into the prize redemption terminal outside the rotunda. I do not appreciate this monument to US history being used as a testing ground for MedTech. This is supposed to be a place of solemn introspection, not a laboratory. So, yes, basically, this was just experimental drugs being handed out in a museum as a result of a sponsorship deal. So, just help myself to, yes, a sample of each of the flavours. And just like in Fallout 4, berry impacts intelligence. And orange relates to perception, meaning orange is terrible and you should never ever take it because in this game, perception doesn't cocky do anything. It doesn't help you in that, so yeah, basically all this does is make your compass work a bit better. And of course, you know, pass on additional skill points to any associated skills. Grape is just by far the best option because, yeah, there are plenty of difficult speech checks in this game, so the ability to max out your charisma up to 10, it's just way more useful. So yeah, just basically take all of those you can get away with. So okay, that's what's floating around on the left, but over on the right, there's also one really cool thing, just buried away on the far side of this tiny room, in the bathroom, in fact. In fact, perfect timing, I just got a bit thirsty, so if I was looking for, you know, somewhere I might want to get a drink from, oh my goodness, a convenient toilet right there. Let's just get this skeleton out the way. I'm sure the fact there's a skeleton hanging out in this toilet bowl doesn't matter in the slightest, so let's just, you know, have a lovely, lovely drink right here, and what's going to happen is I'm immediately going to get electrocuted, because this toilet bowl has been booby-trapped. The wires lead up to, yes, this lovely set of microfusion cells up here, so just to activate those with a very nice check of, I think, repair 20, yeah, you can just take those out the way, and now the toilet will no longer kill you if you attempt to drink from it. So yes, apparently this individual, like, at some point decided to drink from this toilet, and thus was electrocuted. Why this individual did that, when there are things that are way less radioactive right here, I don't cocking know, but yes, at some point, someone set up an electronic trap inside this toilet, and somebody fell for it. So, honestly, this raises more questions than it answers. I don't know whether that trap is completely unique, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere else, so, bare minimum, it is very rare indeed. Okay, on to business proper. Me and Sydney have now got some business to take care of down in the basement. We've got to go and get the Declaration of Independence, and as she was saying, she can skip me past part of the dungeon immediately by just going over to her terminal and cracking open the cargo lift. So that just opens up right there, mag-flipping-nificent, and now that's become a secret elevator. So, okay Sydney, let's go make this happen. So just, yeah, nip downstairs, and there we go. We have now bypassed a big old bit of dungeon. So we're supposed to be going, yeah, that direction. This direction would lead back into an early bit of the dungeon we've just skipped over. So we don't need to go into the archive sub-basement, no problem whatsoever. Though, let's just say things are about to get a bit more complicated.
Men, today I address you with a message of utmost urgency. Our defenses have been breached, and soon we'll engage the enemy. Remember, the will of the people is the only legitimate foundation of any government, and to protect its free expression should be our first object. As your leader, Button Gwinnett, distinguished representative of Georgia, I promise you I have not yet begun to fight.
So yes, indeed, it turns out the various signatories of this document are going to be defending it, despite it being, you know, several centuries in the future and whatnot. We're also into, yes, a very different type of enemy around here, which is, okay, we're now dealing with robots, so unfortunately, I've got the shocker, because just like before, please, no, do not shoot her, push him out of the way, push him out of the... There's also a lot of gas leaks in this building, so, yes, there could be lots of that happening too. There we go. Get behind him. And there's going to be more coming in too. Any chance we can hit you from... Okay, don't do... Sydney, don't do this. Okay, Sydney, please. Sydney, I'm begging you. Just get out of the way so...
I'm hit.
Okay, Sydney's being shot. We need to crack this open and there we flipping go. This area is also very RPG-ish, which is to say there are many skill checks around here. Science, lockpick, etc, etc. If you've got none of them, you're going to be going a very long way round the houses, round a whole bunch of robots. If you do, you can take some shortcuts. So just crack this open and then in just a second, there we go, get over to you. You've already taken a tiny bit of damage, possibly from Sydney, because Sydney is doing okay. Yeah, you really need to be tanking the shots here, because otherwise Sydney is going to run into trouble very fast indeed. So okay, get down, just check Sydney's not dead. Sydney, you doing okay? She's doing fine for the time being. Hopefully she's still got, you know, a nice stim pack or two. Alright, just keep the shocker set, make our way straight down the stairs, so straight away we bypassed, yeah, a good 2 or 3 enemies immediately. And now we're getting into the archives proper. So crack this open, though bear in mind there are going to be, yes, turrets. So the shocker's not going to be able to do anything. Also, yes indeed, Button Gwinnett's going to be just having a nice chat with us on occasion too, so... Not that for now. I'm guessing this might be... No, that's actually wide open. Just double check where everything is before I move forward. There we go. That one's locked. Which probably means that's the one I want to go into, actually. There we go. Crack you open. And yes, indeed, this is what I wanted. Because this is not the way forward, but it is a nice little extra we want to be grabbing en route. Just go over to... Yes, that gunner will do nicely. We've got a handful of turrets right here, and we need to take them out nice and fast before they start shooting me. So yes, conveniently, this barricade right here definitely works more in my favour than it does in terms of... maybe just shut the door, by the way. There's definitely sentry bots nearby. Keep on cracking open the locks. Yeah, you can actually shoot those turrets thanks to the defensive barrier that was presumably set up to, like, you know, defend them. So, okay, very good design right there. Marvellous. So, crack in here. That gets me, yes, stealth boys, which is marvellous. Giant pile of ammo too. Mainly energy, of course, given there's a giant pile of robots and whatnots. But far more importantly, yeah, crack open the safe right here, and we've got an extra document we weren't even asked to find, though we're going to be wanting to take it, obviously. And this looks good. One, a hard-locked door on this side, so okay. Shut the open door, crack open the hard door, yeah. Plenty of skills, if you've got them to about 75, are very useful in this little dungeon. So crack you open, buddy. Then just start sneaking around the side. More cocking gas leaks. Up to flipping 100 at this point, but that's fine. I can do that as well. There we go. Second try. Not that, you know, there's not still a few problems, in fact. John, you picked up 18 pulse grenades last episode. So how about you just toss some of them in straight up. Well, that was embarrassing. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but it was apparently bad for me. John, it does bonus damage to power armor, and you're wearing power armor, you cocking... Okay, well, I'm just a cocky genius. Okay, attempt 2, maybe, John, just stick to the shocker, because the shocker's working just fine, keeps the attention on me, means I'm so sorry, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, unfortunately, you just ended up a little bit on fire. Back there, marvellous. Sydney is still very much... Okay, just keep on keeping on. No, pay attention to... Seriously. At this point in the game, now I'm this level, it is just non-stop sentry bots all day, every cocky day. But that's fine. The shocker is just melting them. Honestly, this has been a revelation for me. Next time I play Fallout 3, 100% I'm going to get the shocker. Like, immediately. It is incredible. Though yes, with good timing of the stealth boy we just picked up a second ago, probably you could if you just waited for the right moment, and it would of course be easier if you didn't have Sydney just jumping gun and opening fire. Yeah, you could just sneak along this right-hand passageway with the stealth boy without them even seeing you. Anyway, before we crack on, yeah, the room where we just murdered all those sentry bots, just take a right there, and once again, you'll probably recognise a lovely, nice, easy to take care of safe room. Though, yes, on this occasion, the turrets have decided to wake up today. Marvellous. Nothing but average locks. Once again, they go down nice and easy, meaning on our way past the Magna Carta, which honestly, you know, kind of feels like a bigger part of British history than American, but okay, for some reason you guys have got this too. Right, that's all we need, so 2 bonus documents, let's go and get the main one, though, yes, on the way, we need to catch up with Mr. Gwinnett.
The enemy is at the gates! Now is the time for the greatest of rallying cries! Wish not so much to live long as to live well.
He truly is a magnificent bastard.
You've breached our defenses, evaded our best soldiers, and you've raided my home. But I have not yet begun to fight. I cannot allow you to steal our freedom. The Declaration must remain here. It is our symbol of hope, the one thing that cries out, we are a free nation.
So there we flipping go. Straight away, thanks to intelligence, I can figure out what's going on here. The lad thinks he's the second signatory of the Declaration of Independence.
Then my reputation precedes me. Good. That should make you well aware that I am not to be trifled with, and that my loyalty to the States is legendary. I know your fighting prowess far exceeds my own, but I will still duel you to the death if I must. What will it be, then? Rapiers? Pistols at dawn? Out with it!
No, Mr. Gwinnett. We've got to figure out a better solution for you, and I do enjoy how there are quite a few very varied options here, so absolutely, just, you know, come out of this conversation, take out the turret, steal the document, be on your way, no trouble whatsoever, aside from, you know, the trouble of him trying to kill you right back. Though, there are some really rather cool other options. In particular, robotics expert. He's literally a robot. So if you've got robotics expert, you can basically just tell him to shut down, and he will. Because he's a robot. That's just a lovely alternative way to deal with this situation. Basically saying, I've not got time for this, I know how computers work, I'm just going to unplug the bastard. And then alternatively, yes, we've got the 2 more peaceful solutions. Obviously, you can offer to make a lovely forgery for him, so he gets to keep the real one, I take the fake back to Abraham Washington, he pays me anyway because he can't tell the difference given he barely knows his US history as it is, but yes, then we come to the speech option, which sometimes I avoid in this game because I prefer to do the solutions that need you to go and get various bits and pieces, though I do quite like the speech solution in this particular mission, even though it does mean you do take the Declaration of Independence and take it to Abraham Washington, which I'm mostly okay with, because, you know, he's already got a good collection of documents, he keeps them nice and framed up in his museum, he's in Rivet City, so they're going to be pretty safe. It's not a bad place to preserve important historical documents. But yes, to be honest, I just find it hilarious that basically I decide to outplay him at his own game. This robot thinks he's Butter Gwinnett, so I'm going to pretend to be Thomas Jefferson. This is also an excellent time to demonstrate just how useful great mentats can be. So even with my speech, this is only 50-50 right now. I would tell you what, my speech is actually only 79, because unfortunately, I've been just too bloody morally good, and I'm no longer neutral. But you know what, no, that's absolutely fine. So Charisma 5 speech 79, that got me 50%. But with the benefit of the mentats, that jumped straight up to 83%. So, yes indeed, it is I, Thomas Jefferson, and I've come to reclaim the document, which I am the primary author of, apparently.
Saints alive! It is both an honor and a privilege, sir. I was hoping this day would arrive. I hope these fortifications are up to your high standards, sir. All of my men await your command to push and retake the capital. May I ask where you intend to bring the document?
And new plan button, I'm taking it to the King in Great Britain.
No, it can't be. Then the stars and stripes have indeed fallen. This is a sad day. A day that every man, woman, and child will remember as they toil in the English salt mines as slaves. Although my brow is heavy, I am honored that you've come to tell me this in person, like a true gentleman. What are your final orders?
Well, unfortunately, Button, it turns out that, yes, I actually need to lose some karma to get back to neutral. So, you, sir, are a disgrace. I've seen this document. Your flipping handwriting is a mess. And don't get me started on John Hancock's ridiculous signature. I order your immediate dismissal from Congress. You, sir, are fired. Which I'm going to assume is a thing I can do.
I am shocked to hear these words from you. I thought I was doing my best to hold these fortifications on behalf of our country. Since I have obviously failed that task in your eyes, the only task I held dear, I see no recourse but to do the honorable thing. I hereby relinquish command and control of this fortification to you. Good luck to you, Mr. Jefferson, and give Sally my regards.
And there we go, the robot explodes, I've lost some karma. Just enough to push me back into neutrality. Brilliant, that was just the right level of evil. And conveniently doing that also makes all the robots stand down. So if you want to, yes, it's now a bit easier to nip back through the dungeon and just mop up anything else you missed. And there she is, the document. Beautiful. Still, before we head out into the world, let's catch up with Sydney just a spell, now that we're, working together and all. One particularly interesting note is, yes, if you ask how she got into the relic hunting business.
I don't know. I grew up like pretty much every other girl in this crappy world. Spent most of my life just trying to keep away from slavers. One day out in the wastes, I stumbled across some poor bastard's body. On the body, I found info leading to some famous document. I had heard that Abraham Washington was looking for these scraps of paper. So I went after the thing. Turned out to be the Constitution. After he loaded me up with caps, I got pissed drunk, got laid, and was happy for the first time in a while. I haven't looked back since.
So there we go, you can literally find out where certain documents he possesses come from. So in the case of the Constitution, apparently Sydney found it, though possibly using information from one of Abraham's previous contractors. Asking after the gun, however, opens up a new option.
Yeah, it is nice. I don't even sleep without it under my pillow. My father made gun ammunition for a living. Taught me everything about how firearms work. So I've spent my downtime tinkering with guns like my 10mm Ultra SMG here. It's like a hobby, I guess.
Which means now we can ask after her father.
Sorry, there's some things I still want to keep to myself. Maybe when I get to trust you better.
So okay, we'll be coming back to that question later. Now fortunately, yes, we've decided not to start murdering the robots, so as a result of that, none of these guys in these various things around here are going to be waking up. Otherwise, yes, they might currently be coming out to try and stop me. Ooh, and before you go, don't forget Button's wig. Because honestly, that is not bad at all. So, that's pretty much all we've got in the museum, and not just the document we're after, but on top of that, more documents and quizzes and unique drugs and even a mysterious electric toilet. But just because we've got what we're after, it doesn't mean we're done with Sydney just yet.
What wonderful artifacts have you brought me?
I am so glad you asked. Here's the Magna Carta.
What do you say to 75 caps for it?
That sounds like an absolute corking rip-off, but I'm not really going to get much better elsewhere, so go for it.
Thank you very much.
And what about the Bill of Rights?
Oh my, I never expected anyone to find this. I didn't even know it was still intact. Well, certainly a reward is in order for your efforts. How about 100 caps?
I seriously feel like I'm being ripped off here, but sure.
Thank you very much.
So okay, those are the extras, which is absolutely lovely, and yes, if we just step outside for a second... The moment you hand over a document, it does actually go into a frame. So, yes, there were 5 documents framed at the start of this episode. Now we've sold him the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights. That goes up to 7, leaving only 1 frame empty. So, how about we sort that out too? And because I've been a good person, agreed to work with Sydney, kept her alive and brought her back with me, I can say that we have both brought you the Declaration of Independence.
Oh my lord, I never I'm utterly shocked. You two have earned your places in the annals of American history. Yes, indeed. You will be remembered for this great day. I will award Sydney's promised bounty to her personally. No need to worry yourself about that. Enjoy your reward, my friend. You've earned it.
So that gets us a giant pile of XP together with, yes, the schematic for the railway rifle, though I've already got that, so it doesn't really matter so much, pile of money, etc, etc, but there are much more important things than that. Number 1, the display is now complete. Beautiful. And number 2, Sydney starts wandering off, but before she does, make sure you speak to her again, because yes, if you don't catch her right now, there's a good chance you just might never happen to run into her again.
Look me up in the underworld if you ever need me. I usually hang there since ghouls don't hit on me all the time.
So there we go, she's now gonna be moving out to Underworld, but more importantly, now we're friends, we trust each other, etc, etc, how about we dig into the question of your father?
I thought he was the best. My mom was long gone, so all we had was each other. He used to call me his little moonbeam. How sappy is that? But when I was 14, he vanished and left me all alone. Never even said goodbye. I cried for a week. Do I have to tell you what it's like for a young woman alone in the wasteland at that age? I don't know where he went, and I don't care. I just hope he got what he deserved, the son of a bitch.
So there we go, Sydney, despite learning a lot from her dad, was then abandoned, and she's rather angry about that. But, that's not actually the end of her story. On the contrary, you can help give her a bit of closure, though it's going to take a bit of work to do. A bit of work that is rather curiously going to take us precisely where Sydney's now going. Underworld, because yes indeed, you may recall many parts ago, we visited the Ranger compound and I'd say it might be time to go and speak to Riley's Rangers again, or to be more specific, to catch up with Riley herself. So, join me next time as we head back over to the Underworld and maybe dig into a few little bits and pieces dotted around there, but yes, more importantly, we're going to speak to Riley, and that just might lead me in the right direction to help Sydney get a tiny bit of closure about her dad. So, hopefully, you're looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Fallout, Tale of Two Wastelands. Thank you very much, and goodbye. If we just hide the bodies, nobody needs to know about this. Yes! My stupid plan has worked! It turns out I'm a genius! The giant rat scorpion is not gone! Oh, hang on, there's more yet though, I'm still being very shocked. Guys, where's the NCR? Nobody needs to know.